Do you face daily challenges while working in SharePoint? Would you like to automate processes, save time, and work more efficiently without having to rely on power users? You can! QuizCom is your one-stop solution for all your SharePoint needs. With 10,000 plus clients and over 70 SharePoint and Office 365 products, we offer a solution for any SharePoint requirement. Let's take a glance at a few of our products. No-code, smart and secured forms. User-friendly and highly customizable organization charts. Data aggregation across your SharePoint Online tenant and MS Graph API. SharePoint and Exchange Online calendar aggregation. One-click convert to PDF and print. When using a third-party app, have you ever wondered how secured your data is when it's processed on a vendor's cloud server? All QuizCom apps are non-technical and are 100% secured. Your data never leaves your tenant. Discover how QuizCom can solve your SharePoint frustrations. Go to www.quizcom.com today and try out any QuizCom product for free.
Hello and welcome to my session for SharePoint Saturday Omaha on how to become a road warrior with Microsoft mobile apps. Are you excited? I am excited, but maybe we shouldn't become road warriors. Maybe in this day and age, maybe we actually should be work from home warriors. And what else? What is a better way to help us do that is to actually use our mobile phones and all the mobile apps that Microsoft gives us. So I'm so happy to give you this session. I would have loved to be in actual Omaha. That would have been even better, but well, sometimes plans change. So let's do it in a virtual way. So sit back and enjoy the ride. So, who am I to start off with? This is my favorite topic, of course. This is just all about me. So, who am I? My name is Marijn Somers. I'm from Belgium. I've been an MVP for a year now, but mostly I've been working with SharePoint and Office 365 for a really long time. I've got this podcast together with Steve Dalby called Office 365 Distilled, where we talk about technology, and we always end with a whiskey tasting. Some people say that we should taste the whiskey before we talk about technology, but we did that once and that really didn't work out very well. With UC Mori, I also have a YouTube series on blaming the end user, where it is our job to try to pinpoint all the issues that we have around user adoption to our end users. We fail at that big time, but we try anyway. So that is what I do. I'm a productivity coach at my 365 coach, my own company. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. If you want to know more, contact me on Twitter at Marijn Somers, or feel free to send me a LinkedIn invite or whatever. You can find me on all the socials anyway. But please do check out the podcast, do check out the YouTube series if you think that this might be of any value to you. All right, cool. So let's go. Let's see what we are going to talk about. So I'm going to try to make this session as practical as possible. So I'm not going to have a lot of slides. I'm mostly going to do lots of demos. So what are we going to look at today? Well, first of all, we're going to look at the Office mobile app. This is an awesome app, and it will allow you to, it's the one app to rule all the other apps, because there are so many functionalities from all the other apps that are inside the Office mobile app that it's just awesome. Next up, let's talk about the Power Platform just a little bit. Just gonna give you a few examples on what you can do. There are a bunch of really cool sessions this week around the Power Platform, so please feel free to check them out. And most of the time, we're just gonna talk about the Teams mobile app. I just love the Teams mobile app. With the whole Corona COVID thing, this has been the app that I've been using the most, definitely on my mobile, to just do a bunch of meetings while I'm in the kitchen cooking. I can do a meeting while I'm just there, and I can just do whatever I want. So if I'm sitting on the toilet, for example, I can just check all my stuff and see what else is new and stuff like that. So if we got some time, we're gonna end with a little bonus as well, but I believe we got some time for that. All right, cool. So let's start off with the Office mobile app. I heard people say at Ignite, people from Microsoft say that we just call it Office because it's just that simple, it's that easy, and it is what it sounds like. So it's got just Office, and because that's what it is. So it's super easy. So you don't have to install all the other apps anymore. It's got Office Lens integration. It's got your OneDrive integration, and you can do tons of really cool stuff with that. Like what, do you ask? Oh, good that you ask. Let's dig in. So let's switch to my mobile app, and I've got a number of Office 365 mobile apps here on my screen already. This is not the exhaustive list, so there are a bunch more. So there's this Yammer app that you have as well. There are a bunch of other apps. You've got Kaizala, which is being phased out and all being moved into Teams as well. There are a bunch of other apps, but I only have an hour. I don't have 2 days to fill, so I'm just gonna show you what I think are the most useful or the most important ones of them all. And I definitely want to start off with the Office mobile app. So it is super easy, as you can see. So on the bottom, you just have like 3 buttons. You got your home button, you got the big plus sign, and there are some actions that you can do. Yeah. So on the top side, you've got my picture here. If you click on my picture, I can just see a number of things that I can do. I can see all the accounts that I'm logged on with. So that is also brilliant. So I can see that I'm logged on with my work account. I'm logged in with my personal account. So that means, for example, for OneDrive, I can actually look at my professional OneDrive. I can look at my personal documents. I can just see everything that I'm storing at a Microsoft location. Number of settings here as well. We're not going to dive in super hard. So the brilliant thing is, so on the recommended part here on top, this first guy, Eric, he's actually from one of my customers. So I can actually directly see that he has been working on this Excel file. I can go to my other documents. So actually a document that I'm presenting right now. So I can just scroll here, and these are documents that are coming from my personal OneDrive. It's coming from SharePoint. It's coming from my customers' OneDrives. So I can just find everything here. I can just click on it, and it will open up. In this case, it will open up in Word, which is brilliant. I don't have to install this anymore. I can just go in there, and I can just find that. Yeah. Same thing here below. I can just see all the documents I've been opening up today. I've been opening up yesterday. So I can just directly find all the documents that I've been working on. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant functionality. So what else do we have on top? So I've got my home button. I can actually directly jump into Word. I can jump into Excel, PowerPoint, and other things as well. Super easy to work with. Next to that, we've got this little folder icon. So if we click on that folder icon, I can directly go to my OneDrive, to my SharePoint, to my own device, where I can actually go to folders where I'm storing my images or my other documents or whatever. I can even go to linked Google Drives, for example. So there are a number of really cool functionalities that I can just all go to from this location. So let's go, for example, to my OneDrive. It's loading up. I don't have a super fast connection here, but it's just loading up all my files just as I would have on my normal OneDrive app as well. So let's not wait for that. Got tons of more things to do. Same thing with SharePoint. I can just go to my own SharePoint environment and I can directly see all the SharePoint sites that I've got in there, and I can just jump into a site. I can see all the document libraries that are there, and I can just go to a document library, open up a file, and it's just easy as that. Yeah. So let me just go back. All right. So what else do we have? So we've got the big plus sign, and that big plus sign allows you to create new things. It is just as simple as that. So I click on that big plus sign, and there are three major parts that I can do. So the first part is notes, so I can take some notes that I want to keep. The middle part is lens, office lens, and the third part is documents. So the third part, documents, if I click on documents, this will actually open up, and this will actually allow me to do a bunch of things. So what would be easy? Because, for example, for Word, I wouldn't be writing a whole document on my mobile phone. But what it automatically gives me as an option is, for example, the dictate functionality. So if we use that one, it's just going to create a new document. It will tell me where it's going to store, and it is actually listening to what I'm saying and recording everything. So if I'm, I don't know, cooking, for example, I can just listen, I can just dictate whatever I want to say, and it will this will just write that whole document for me, so I don't have to type it in at all. This is one of the major functionalities that I would be using a mobile phone for. All right, cool. So let's jump out of this. It just stored my document there, so I can just work on that wherever I'm back at the office, or I'm back in front of my PC, do some extra things with it, and I'm just good to go. So this is, for me, one of the killer features of the Office app. Now, what else do we have in there? We've got, for example, that Office Lens functionality. And I'm a big fan of Office Lens, because what does Office Lens do? It allows me to take pictures, and it will do extra things with those pictures. So, for example, remember the times that you're sitting in a meeting room, somebody's drawing something on a whiteboard, and you just take a picture of it. But yeah, what Office Lens does is actually will take that picture and make it appear as if you're just standing right in front of that picture. It will also do a number of other things. So, for example, I can just take a picture of that like this, for example, and let's say this is a document. So what it will do is, okay, well, I effed up for this one. Whoops. So it will actually take a picture, and it will, I don't have a document here with me. Oh, yeah. Well, that's a poorly executed demo here, but let me try something else just later that will show you the power of this Office Lens. So what it will do is, if you take a picture from the side, it will actually make it so that it looks like you're standing straight in front of that. So it will improve the quality of the documents that you scan or that you take a picture of, for example. Yeah. And what else do we have here? Well, we also have the Actions button on the right lower side, and this has a number of extra things that you can do with the Office mobile app. So the top two, transfer files and share nearby. So if people around you also have the Office app, you can just use that share nearby feature to actually send or receive files. Super easy. You can also use the transfer files between your phone and your computer. Personally, I mostly use OneDrive for that. So if I have a file on my phone, like for example, if I just took a picture, I can just send that to my OneDrive, and then I'll have it automatically available on my laptop as well. But you can actually transfer files to someone else's computer, for example. How does that work? Super easy. You just want to send something, and people need to go to transfer.office.com on their computer, scan QR code, and it will make a connection. Super easy stuff. What else is super cool here in the Office mobile app? Well, we've got the conversion of text into something else. So what you can do, for example, is when you take an image of something, you take a picture of something, it will actually transform that into either text or a table, for example. So you already saw my failed demo 2 minutes ago where I was trying to take a picture of this Nat King Cole CD. Well, if I just want to have that front, if I want to have that transferred into a table because I'm too lazy to type it over, I can just use image to table. I can just use this to take a picture of that, hit confirm, and it will actually transform this into a nice, there we go, open anyway. It's gonna do the, okay, it can't create my file. Well, that's a second demo that's not working. Let me try that once more. Let's put that right into the, yeah, let's see if we can make it work now. I did forget to sacrifice a goat for the to please the demo gods, so that is probably why this is not working. So let's open it anyway, and there we go. So it actually created this 2 items in my Excel file. So super cool functionality. It allows me to do all these things. What else does it do that is really useful if you're working with a mobile phone? It will actually allow you to sign PDF documents. So I'm an independent consultant, so a lot of times when I'm working with a new customer, they're going to send me some documents that I need to sign, and I can just use this sign a PDF functionality to just open up that PDF, use my finger to write on my screen, and have a document signed. So that is a super useful functionality. There are a number of other things here as well. So if I got a PDF document, I can actually transform that into a Word document so that I actually can do anything with it, or the other way around, I can convert a Word document into a PDF. There's also this new functionality that I actually didn't see before today, which is the presentation coach that you now have with the PowerPoint on the web. So the web version of PowerPoint allows you to rehearse a PowerPoint presentation. And it will give you some feedback on that. Well, that functionality is now also built into this mobile version. So for example, at 9 o'clock in the morning, you have to give a big presentation to your boss. Well, when you're commuting, when you're sitting on the train, you can actually rehearse that on your mobile phone, and the presentation coach will actually give you feedback like, okay, don't just read the text of your slides, don't use or curse words or something else. So all these things will all be that will be like feedback that you get from that coach, and that is going to be super valuable, and that will mean that when you're giving that session, you're prepared, you have optimal use of your commuting time. So that is definitely a super cool feature for when you're using your mobile phone as an extra tool to do your work. Yeah. All right, cool. So there's a number of really cool things that you can do with the Office mobile app. If you didn't install it yet, please do it, because it is just an awesome application that can really bring lots of really cool functionality and really cool use cases into your life. Next up, let's take a short look at the Power Platform. So the Power Platform, as you know, we've got Power Apps, we've got Power Automate, we've got Power BI, we've got a number of other things that are coming as well to the Power Platform. And these are really things that excel in working with your mobile phone. So if I'm just jumping back here, let me switch my screen here as well. So for example, if we're looking at, for me, it's still called Flow. It's not called Power Automate on my phone. So it is still called Flow. If I open up Flow, for example, this is like your default Power Automate, of course, where you can create and look at all your flows. You can search for templates. But what is really useful is this buttons functionality. And there we go. So what you can do is you can actually start building flows in Power Automate that can start with a click from a button, and that can be an actual physical button that you can buy and that you can install, but it can also be, for example, a button from your phone. So you can actually have these buttons on your phone as well, and you can actually make them do something. So one of the default one is the get today's weather forecast from my location. So if I just click on that, it will actually do something. It will give me like this push notification. There we go. So that is what it definitely can do. So I don't really want to use this to build my flows. I could use this to check a flow. So for example, if I'm on the train commuting and I get these emails that a flow is not working very well, I can actually take a look at it, see why it's not working. But the killer feature for me is to actually use these buttons. So I have to do something, and this could be the input, this could be the trigger to start a flow in Power Automate. Yeah? There are some really cool functionalities in here. So definitely try to test this out. So that's Power Automate. The other side is, of course, Power Apps. And in Power Apps, I'm pretty sure you already played around with Power Apps before. Power Apps allows you to create applications to either use on a tablet or on a mobile phone. So you can actually really create applications that work for your limited screen real estate that you have on your phone. So I already built one. This is a demo that I did for a customer. It's just something I threw together in 30 minutes. So it's a non-conformity handling tool. So if I click on that one, Power Apps is going to open. It's going to open my application. And this is just the SharePoint list that I'm seeing here. That it's still loading. And what I can do is I can just say, okay, I want to add an extra item here, and I can fill in these fields. I can add some attachments here as well. And when I'm done, I can just click on the check mark and it will add a new item into my list. So, and there are tons of other applications that you can create. I just created a little calculus app for my daughter. So when I'm playing with my daughter with Uno, I also created this little app that we can write down who won. I've got a few other apps here as well. So, and these are just really applications for your mobile phone. So these are really things that you can do on your phone. So that's why I also showed you that non-conformity application, because that is typically something you're walking around at your customer or in your organization, and you see, for example, that there's somebody spilled something on the stairs. Well, you can just directly take your phone out of your pocket, open up that non-conformity tool, write down that something happened on the stairs, and the correct people are going to be notified straight away, and they can just take action right away so that the issues are solved really, really, really fast. You can also just take pictures to have add them as attachments, so you don't have to wait for anything else. So this makes your life just super easy, and there are tons of examples that you can think about to really start using this these power apps in your mobile life. So these are definitely not the ones to use in front of your big screen, but really take the benefit of using them in your mobile device. Yeah. All right, cool. And now let's take a look at my favorite mobile app, which is the Teams mobile app. I already did a few sessions around specifically that Teams mobile app. So this is going to be the short version of it. So let's jump back. So before we jump into the Teams mobile app, let's first take a little look at the other apps that we've got that I think really add benefit. So for example, you've got the Planner app, which it's a brilliant app, don't get me wrong, but I don't see the benefit of checking off my tasks when I'm on the go. This is typically something I would do when I'm sitting behind my desk, when I'm working. Okay, I've did my tasks, or I'm creating new tasks for people. That is typically things that I would do when I'm sitting behind my desk with my big screen computer. So those are not really typical things that I would do on my mobile phone. Then again, if I'm looking at the other applications that we have, for example, To Do, I'm using that all the time. So I just love To Do. For example, I'm looking at, I've got a list of movies that I still want to watch. I've got a list of things that I need from the supermarket. I've got my business ideas, whiskeys that I need to drink, things that I need to do for my customers, ideas that I have for blog posts. I'm just using that all the time because it is just a brilliant app, and I just love the way how it looks on the mobile phone. To be honest, the To Do app, I almost never use that on my laptop. I mainly use that on my mobile phone. That's very weird. And because for the Planner app, I wouldn't really think about opening that on my mobile phone, but the To Do app, I definitely use that all the time, mainly because I'm mixing my personal life with my business life for that application. What else do we've got? Well, OneDrive, you know that I just love OneDrive. It's easy. It gives me access to all my documents. It's got all my recent documents on the bottom, all the files that I'm sharing. I can just quickly, when I'm clicking here on top, I can just jump from one OneDrive to the other. Now, of course, a lot of that functionality is also in the Office mobile app, but to be honest, I'm still using the OneDrive app a lot. Definitely when I need to find some documents, I can just browse very quickly through all these things. Also, another app that I definitely use because I'm coming from that SharePoint background is the SharePoint application. And there were some extra additions lately to that SharePoint application. So one of the newest additions is the addition of both a home site and the ability to put your own colors and your own logo into the mobile app. So for example, you see this red banner on top, and that is because my company, my Omaha365 coach, that is has a red color. So that is why I'm using that red banner on top. So I can just in my organization profile, same way as I give that that top bar in my Office 365, how I can give that a color. Same color will be applied, same logo will be applied in my SharePoint mobile app. So I can definitely make sure that everyone in my organization has the same look and feel, has the same branding when they're using their SharePoint app as well. You can also see that little house icon on top, and that little house icon, that is actually the link to my home site. So, you know, you've got team sites, you've got communication sites, you've got hub sites, and you can also set a home site. And actually, when I just click that home button, it will bring me to my home site, which I also called home site, which might be a little silly, but yeah, well, anyway. So that is also a really good way to make sure that people go to your intranet, for example. So set up your intranet as the home site, and that way they can just click on that little house icon, and that brings them directly to your intranet through the mobile version of your intranet. So super cool functionality there as well. Okay. We were going to talk about Teams. So let's talk about Teams. So let's open up Teams. And before we really dive into Teams, a few things that I think are really super useful. First thing that we see is, so instead of the Teams for the desktop, where we have the left rail navigation, here we've got that bottom rail navigation. It's what I like to call the app drawer, because you can just see these activity, chat, Teams, calendar, calls. On the bottom, I also have this more button. So if I click on that more button, it actually opens up this drawer of all these applications. Now, if I say, for example, look, I really don't care about that calls functionality because I'm not using that because I've got my mobile phone and I'm just calling everyone with my phone and not really calling people with Teams, I can actually click on that reorder button, and I can say, for example, well, I do use shifts, for example. So I want to use shifts, and I can just move that on top and hit the save button, and I just managed or changed my navigation. So that is super cool, and that allows everyone to just make this Teams mobile app work the way they want it to. What I also love, and I love that about all the mobile applications that we have in within Microsoft, is the way how they allow me to transfer from one account to another one. So you already saw that, for example, in OneDrive, where I can just have all the OneDrives of all the accounts that I list here. So with my customers, my own private one, my own business one, and I can just switch around from one to the other in a matter of seconds. I cannot do that on my laptop. That is just not working. I need to use different profiles. I need to do all kinds of mixes and matches, and it still takes me way too much time. But for all the mobile applications, it just works within like 2 seconds time. And the Teams application is definitely the same. So when I click on these little bars here on top, I get a little more information, but I can also just see all the tenants that I'm using as a guest or my own or with different accounts, and it just allows me to jump really quickly, from one account to another. So let's open up one of my customers, boom, and I'm just there. And you see that the bottom navigation also changes. So I can have that bottom navigation to work for this customer, with the calls functionality, with another customer where I don't have that, and I can just change that. So it just works, and I can just change back and boom, and I'm there. So super useful functionality. Now, also now on top you can see meeting in HR. So there's currently a meeting going on, and I can just click on that join button to join that meeting. It's actually what I'm recording right now. So I can just jump in there, and it will just, allows me to take over my meeting instead of my laptop, and that I can bring that to my mobile phone. So there are tons of really cool functionalities. Now also, what I like a lot is the notifications on the mobile phone. Because it's my mobile phone, I have that thing on me 24/7. I have that thing on me all the time. So what I want to do is I want to define some times and some days where I don't want to be disturbed by Teams. Yeah. So what you can do in the notifications part is you can schedule quiet hours. Quiet hours. So in contrast with the laptop, where you can also set something like that, which doesn't really work very well, this works brilliantly. So I can just say, okay, every day, start it at 9:30 in the evening. That's not right. So let's change that up. So it needs to start, let's say, at 7 o'clock in the evening. It needs to start my quiet hours, and in the morning at 7 in the morning it needs to end, and then I can receive notifications again. And I also have some quiet days, which are Sunday and Saturday. Those are my quiet days. I don't want to be disturbed on those days. So those are some really cool functionalities that you can use there as well. All right, let's jump back. So we did talk a little bit about the application drawer. I forgot to show you the dark theme. For every application that we have in Microsoft, we've got a dark theme these days as well, which is a little bit better for your eyes. And it was a big ask from the community, but we can do that right now as well. So the quiet hours are really a cool functionality. We've got that application drawer on the bottom as well. One thing I didn't show you was the data and storage, because we're using this mobile phone and maybe you're using it a lot at a place where you don't have Wi-Fi connection and you're actually using your data connection. Maybe you don't have a big data connection, and you can actually define, for example, if you're taking pictures of, if you're uploading stuff, what quality they need to be in. So to actually preserve your data storage and data capacity there as well. We have been talking about the quiet hours. Tony Redmond actually wrote a really cool blog post around the quiet hours, and there are some gotchas there as well. So for example, it's based on the device time. So if I'm traveling and my hours change, it is actually using the time that is set on the device. Also, it is set per device. So that means if I have two mobile phones or a tablet and a mobile phone, I actually need to set it on each device individually. It's also not working when I'm actively using the app. So if I'm actually using Teams, I will still get notifications. Pretty important, it is only for Teams. So the quiet hours that you set in Teams are only for Teams. It is not for all other applications that you might have push notifications for. Incoming calls will still get through, and the urgent notifications, they will still annoy you, because that's what I like to call the urgent notifications. That's the annoying functionality where you will get every 2 minutes for the next 20 minutes, you will get this notification. So yeah, that's really an annoying functionality, and they will still get through. So this means that somebody really urgently needs to contact you or notify you. So those will still get through there. Yeah. All right. What are some other really cool features that you can have, that you can do here? For example, is the activity and chat, but let's just jump in here instead of just reading from the slides. Let me just show you what I mean. So if I go to, let's jump to, let's jump back to my customer here, because I've got some activity there. There we go. So these are all things that I've been reading. So what I can do is I can actually swipe this left and right, and I can mark it as in red. So if there are things that I still want to follow up on, I can actually mark them as unread. So I think that is a super cool functionality. Also, for my chats, for example, this was something that was shown to me with Carolina Ketukari. She showed me that. So just like in WhatsApp, for example, if I just swipe this to the left or to the right, I'm actually quoting a message, so I can answer that specific message. And I think that is also a super cool functionality. So let's jump back to my own. All right. Because what I can also do is when I'm talking to people, there are a bunch of ways how I can talk in a chat. So, for example, I can send somebody a picture, or I can take my own picture. And that is really where this Office Lens, for example, also comes through. So I can take this picture here, let's say, of Nat King Cole. And because I'm on a mobile, I actually have my screen here. So I can actually draw this heart in there, and there we go. And I can send that off to this person that I'm talking to. So I can actually scribble on that. And that is that Office Lens integration that is really in OneDrive, it is in Teams, it is in the Office application. So that is really everywhere. I can do GIFs, I can do all kinds of stuff. There's also this 3 dots where I can, for example, change that priority of the chat that I'm doing into, for example, that urgent, annoying functionality that we have there as well. Also, super cool functionality is that I can actually share my location. So because I'm mobile, I'm using my mobile phone, I can actually, I'm not sitting behind my desk, so I can actually share my location with people. So there we go. And now this person will know where I am. So if I'm on the road, if I'm a salesperson, they actually see where I am right now. So there are a number of really cool functionalities that we have. We've got the praise, for example, where I can actually praise somebody because they did something awesome. So boom, and there we go. Yeah. So of course, this praise is not really useful when you're doing a one-on-one chat. It is really much more useful when you're doing it in a Teams conversation, of course. Yeah. Also here is my ability to either record a voice message and send an actual voice message. So I can record this and then I can send it. So there we go. And this is actually sent as a voice message. So Lloyd will actually get this as a voice message. But what I also like to use is when I'm with my mobile phone, I don't like to type all day. So what I just do is I use my built-in microphone from my mobile device as a mobile. Hello, I am typing this. So hello, please fill this in. Oh, and this always goes wrong when I try to demo it. It always works when I just try to use it, but when I want to demo it, it never works. It's useless. But I've used it before, so I know it works, but it just doesn't work when I want to demo it. But that also just allows me to just type less, and whenever I'm just walking around, and I can just send messages that way to people or to my teams or to my chats. So that definitely works very well as well. So definitely really cool mobile scenarios. So I can, something I didn't show was that long hold to mute, but I can also just in a chat, I can just swipe right to quote somebody. I can have different ways that I want to share something. I've got that Office Lens integration. So there are a lot of really cool things how I can talk to other people in a chat or in a team. There are, of course, a number of limitations because we are using this other screen factor or this other screen format. So there's no support for example, metadata in files, no conditional formatting as you have in your client app on the laptop. There's not really a way to have announcement posts. There are not a lot of reply options. You can't really post into multiple channels, but those are really functionalities that you would normally do on your desktop either way. You're not really gonna write the whole announcement post on your mobile phone, so it's logical that it's not in there. One thing that I kind of am missing is the background blur functionality. So now, of course, on the desktop, we've got background blur, we've got our custom backgrounds. We don't have that on the phone yet. So it is coming for iOS. I have no idea when it's coming for Android, but that is definitely a functionality that I'm waiting for, because when I'm, I don't know, sitting in Starbucks and working from there, I just might want to take a meeting or a one-on-one with my phone. And then I just want to blur my background so that you can't see all the people walking around. There's also not really this Meet Now functionality, or I can't start a Meet Now functionality. I've got GIFs, but I don't have stickers in there. I can't edit a wiki. There's a specific way how my themes are shown, which I'll show you in an instant, where I can't really see hidden themes. There are extra capabilities though. So I love the account switching, which is super easy, super fast. I love the fact that I can just send voice messages. I love the quiet hours. I also love the way how the new button is totally different than the reply button. So on the desktop version, people are always making the mistake of creating a new conversation when they want to reply something, because the two buttons are just so alike, and you don't have that on the actual mobile application. On the chat, you can just swipe right to quote, but I also love are the easy answers. So every time somebody talks to me, or in a chat, for example, I actually have these easy replies that I can do. So, for example, I get a question and I can just, instead of just typing the whole answer, I can just use one of the pre-formatted answers that I just can give. And of course, it's mobile, so that is brilliant as well. So if you look at collaboration, see what we can do or how that works. If you never used Teams to do your actual Teams work, you should definitely try it out, because it is just brilliant. You can just do so many cool things with that. So first off, this is my Teams. So you don't see your hidden themes, but there is a button where you can actually say, I want to see all the themes. What happens is that this is only showing my themes, and hidden themes are just not shown here. But what happens, if I want to show a hidden theme here, I can just go to see all themes, and I can just say, okay, I want to actually show these as well into my themes list, and then they will be added here as well. Also super cool is I can just long click onto a channel to pin it on top, just as I can do with my normal one. When I just click a long time here, I can just unpin it. So that makes me have all my favorite channels just on top, so I can just go in there super fast to go to the content where I actually want to be in. To create new themes is also possible, so you can just click on those three dots on top, where I can just manage my themes, create new themes, or join the theme with a code. So I love that functionality, join theme with a code. So if you're the owner of a theme, you can actually generate a code in your theme settings. For example, if you're the manager of a company, you've got 70 people sitting in front of you because you're giving a big speech about some new project that you want to do, and you want to give everyone access to that project. You can just show that code to everyone, and it's just like a 5-digit code or something, or 6-digit code. You can just show that code to everyone, and everyone who wants to join up can just say, okay, I want to join the team with a code, fill in that 5-6 digit code, and they're just in there straight away. Super easy functionality. So yeah, that's definitely how you can create new things. If I'm jumping in, I've got my posts, I've got my files, I've got everything else that I want to do. So my wiki, all my other tabs, they're all there. What I really wanted to show you was here, where you can actually see I've got my reply buttons here, and I've got my new chat button or my new conversation button there. And these are really two separate things. And I just love the fact that they're just, they very much look totally different. Yeah. So I can go to my files. Same thing here. I can just see all my files. I can just open them up, work in these documents. It's not always very easy because you're working on a mobile device, but you can also just go to other things. You can open a planner, all the pin tabs that you have. You can, the pin tabs that you have. You can just use them from there as well. So all really cool functionality. So let's go back to the slides because we don't have that much time left. Let's talk about meetings. So for the meetings part, I'm showing you this with screenshots because if I'm going into a meeting or creating a meeting, I'm actually losing this one. So that's not going to work, of course. So meetings on the go. So I can create events, I can join meetings, and I can share my content. How does that work? When I go into my calendar mode, I actually have this button here where I can say, okay, I want to create a new event. And just like in Outlook or in my desktop version of Teams, I can just choose whatever I want to show. Or whatever, whenever I want to have a meeting and where I want to have a meeting to, who my participants are, so I can just show all those things. Create these new events there as well. When the time is there to join the event, I can actually just click on that join button, as you saw in my demo earlier as well. I can just click on that, and it will give me that pre-join screen where I can actually say, do I want to show my video? Do I want to show my? Do I want to use my microphone? Or do I want to connect to a Bluetooth device in the room? So I can just have my join options. So where I can join this room. The one thing I hate about meetings on mobile phone in Teams, and that is something that we really need to talk about that with the mobile app team, is that I can join a meeting, and if it's in a big meeting, there will be lots of chats. And on my mobile phone, I need to choose between showing the chat or showing the video camera or showing the screen that is being shared. So I can't see the both of them because I've got my limited screen, of course, but there's no way to see both the screen that is shared or the presentation that's being given and follow up on the conversations. So when I'm in big meetings with 70 or 100 people, I constantly see that those notifications popping up while I'm trying to look at the screen. And when I go to the conversations to say something or to reply to something, I can't see the screen anymore. That is super unuseful, and I really hate that functionality. What else is super cool is if I'm the one delivering the session, I can actually do that from the mobile phone. And it actually made me think, why didn't I do that right now? That would have been even better. So I can just go into the meeting and I can just share content with the share button, just as I can do with my desktop version. And I can actually say, okay, what do I want to share? I can actually share my screen, so I can actually show you the whole session. I can actually have done the whole session with my from my mobile phone as well. In this case, I want to share my PowerPoint, get my recent documents just as I have in my Word or Excel, Word or OneDrive or SharePoint or my Office app. I can just choose the one that I want to show, and I can actually share that with everyone. Cool thing is, if I turn my phone into landscape mode, it will actually show that in landscape mode as well and make it even easier for me to click around on the phone. So that was really the meetings functionality. Now let's look at the shifts functionality really fast, because I really think that this is definitely a mobile scenario that a lot of people are using. So shifts is the way how you can actually clock in and clock out from your work shifts. What you can do is you can actually see your shifts when you open it up. You can actually see who you're working with. You can actually chat with those people that you're working with. For example, if you want to make some agreements on lunch, for example. There's a way to request time off. So that whole HR leave requesting is all baked into this thing. So I can request time off. I can choose the type of time off that I want to have. My manager needs to approve this, and then it will just be shown that it's a complete request and that this time is off. So brilliant functionality. Now, how does this work? Teams, shifts, excuse me. So I'm off the clock. I need to start working. I've got this big start button that I click, and now I'm on the clock. So I need to start working, and after 5 seconds I get really tired and I need a break. So I've got this play button where I can take a break, and I'm on my break, and at some point I can just stop and stop my break, go back to work, and at the end of my shift I can actually press my stop button, and I'm off the clock. So what I then need to do is I need to confirm the hours that I've been working, and when it's confirmed I can no longer change it anymore. So I can actually see my timesheet, and I can actually see all the hours that I've been working and all the shifts that I've been doing. So in the end of the month I've got this nice balance sheet that I can see. What is also super useful is this SMS sign-in. So if you got a shared device, this is a brilliant way to actually start logging in without having to log in with your username, your password, stuff like that. So this is way easier. So what's next for Teams Mobile? Well, there's this walkie-talkie feature that is definitely going to be super useful for all your front-end workers, for example, security people, people working in the store. They can just have this walkie-talkie feature within Teams, so only the people that are on the current shift are talking to each other. So if you're off the clock, if you're not working today, you will not get all these messages. These will just be shared with everyone who are working. So there's a really big microphone button that you can push to actually get your voice message out to everyone at the same time. So super cool functionality. There are some other cool things coming up, like these head-mounted devices. Of course, that's not what we're all gonna walk around in. This is for specific people only. But I think it's a really cool functionality that we've got these hardware solutions for specific mobile issues. As I said before, background blur is coming for iOS. I think that is going to be a game changer because we're walking around with our mobile phone. I think that is definitely useful, that we can actually blur whatever is happening behind us. Also, something that I'm looking forward to is a new codec that's going to be used that is going to deliver better, more crisp sound, so that we can actually have better conversations with better quality, even when you're in somewhere where you don't have an optimal data connection. So it is going to improve the quality of the sound and the things that the sounds that we make. We've got target communications with tags. Definitely take a look at tags. It's not a mobile-only functionality. You also have that on your desktop on your desktop version. Definitely test it out, try it out. It is a really cool functionality where you can actually tag a number of people or tag a group of people within your team that you want to target some specific communication to. And very quickly, as a bonus, there is a Teams personal and family plan coming up where you can actually have all the nice things that you use for Teams on the work floor. You can actually use them for your family time as well. So what will you do, or what will you be able to do? Of course, you can make like video calls, all the things that you can do with your work version as well, like share photos and videos. But you can also, for example, start sharing lists like a grocery list, the thing that I'm doing right now in my to-do. There will be some vault like application where you can store important information like insurance information, the Wi-Fi password, other accounts information like passwords, whatever you want to store in there. You can share your location like I did in my demo, so you can actually see real on a live schedule where your children are, for example. So you can actually see them where they're, if they're coming back from school, you can actually see where they're going. So there are tons of really cool functionalities that you can actually start using with your loved ones, with your family. It's coming really soon as well. I'm definitely very curious for that when it's coming up. That's it. My time is up. So as a wrap up, there are definitely some benefits for every scenario, for every role. Definitely take a look at the mobile apps, see where they can be beneficial for you. There are really some awesome features that you don't have on the desktop version that you only have on your mobile device. So really put that mobile device in good use. Use it for more than just your email. There are really, really cool business scenarios that you can work on while you're commuting or while you're waiting in line at the supermarket or the post office. So yeah, definitely some really cool ways how you can do that. Don't do meetings while you're driving, or don't use your phone while you're driving. That's just not a good idea. And of course, don't forget to wash your hands. Also super important. So that was me. Thank you very much. If you got any more questions, feel free to give me a shout out. Let me know how you think or what you think about this session. Let me know what business scenarios that you use with your mobile device. We can all just learn from each other. So I hope you have a really nice day, a really nice week. That's it for me, and thank you so much. Bye.